Okay, good morning and welcome to Solving Systems by Elimination. I apologize for not having the video up yesterday, but I was having some technical difficulties. I am taking us out of the packet today to do some separate notes that can help us out a little bit. And then the homework then is on the back side. Notes for Solving Systems by Elimination. Here's a reminder. Solving systems, we are actually looking for where two equations are going to cross on a graph. And we're going to figure that out without actually graphing it. Sometimes it behooves us to solve it using algebra instead. So I tried to break this down by steps for us, and here's what they are. The first thing you need to do when you're solving systems using elimination is choose a variable to eliminate. Okay, so and that variable can be x or y. After you figure out which variable you're going to eliminate, sometimes you have to multiply to create opposites that will cancel. Now, I'm going to put a little star by step 2 because you don't always have to do that step. Sometimes you already have opposites that are going to cancel and you don't need to multiply anything. Step 3 then is going to be to add the equations. And we're just going to add the two together. And then step 4 would be to solve for your first variable, depending on what you decided to eliminate. That could be x or y. And then step 5 is going to be to substitute and solve for your second variable. Okay? Now, I'm going to put this into practice for us on these two examples. So starting with example 1, you want to take a look at your system here and say, okay, is there anything in this system that are exact opposite that would cancel each other out if I added them together as is? And if you take a look, the opposites 4x and negative 4x, if you added those together, they would cancel each other out. So right away, I'm gonna choose x to eliminate. And I don't have to multiply anything. These are already opposites. So I'm going to eliminate x first. And then I'm going to add the rest of the equations together. So 9y plus negative 7y is 2y. Put my equal sign back down. Negative 19 plus 13 is going to be negative 6. And then I'm going to divide by 2 on each side. And I figure out that y is equal to negative 3. Okay, so a reminder, your final answer to all of these is an ordered pair. So y is the second part of the coordinate, so I'm going to put that in. Now, to figure out what x is, and I'm going to do this in green here, we're going to take that, what we figured out y is, and we're going to substitute it back into one of our equations and solve for x now. So I'm going to rewrite this first equation. 4x plus 9, instead of y, I'm going to say times negative 3 equals negative 19. Okay, and then I'm going to simplify this. That's really 4x minus 27, because 9 times negative 3 is negative 27, equals negative 19. And then you can, if you're more comfortable making a chart, you can make a chart here and solve for x, or you can solve it outright. I'm going to make a chart since that's what we've been practicing. So 4x stays here, negative 27 becomes positive, negative 19 stays. Let's add these up. You get 4x equals 27 plus negative 19 is 8. Then we want to divide by 4, x equals 2. And that is what goes into your first coordinate. And so your answer, these two are going to cross. If we were to graph them, they would cross at the coordinate 2, negative 3. Over 2, down 3. That's where they would intersect. Now, it does get a little bit more difficult in that sometimes you're going to have these equations that don't already have something that will cancel out. So on example 2 here, if you take a look at these two, there aren't exact opposites to start out with. So you have to make some opposites. And this is how you do that. That's where step 2 comes in. We're going to multiply one of these equations by a number to create opposites. So is there anything I can multiply 2 by to get -3? Nothing easy. So is there anything I can multiply y by to get -2y to cancel out? And the answer is yes. I can multiply this y by -2. If I do that, I get -2y here. And that will cancel. The problem is now you can't just do that to one part of an equation. You have to do that to the whole entire thing. You can multiply by anything as long as you do it to the whole thing. So I'm no longer going to use this, but I am going to multiply the rest of the equation. I'm going to write this down. Multiply by -2. So 2x times -2, we're going to replace that with a -4x. And we're going to replace my -3 times -2. We'll replace that with a 6. Now we're going to work with these two equations instead, and we're going to follow our steps again. So we decided we're going to eliminate y. So that means we're going to add these up. So -4x plus -3x is -7x. Our two y's are now going to cancel, and 6 plus -8 is -2. Last step then is to divide, and I get x equals, and you can use a decimal or a fraction. I'm going to use, because some of you are more familiar, I'm going to use the decimal version. So -2 divided by -7 gives you about 0. Pardon me, I don't know that right off the top of my head, but about 0.29 if you round it. So again, with our answer here, we want to make an ordered pair. So this is my x-coordinate, so that's the first one, 0.29. Now I'm going to take that answer I got, and I'm going to substitute it back into one of my equations. Now, it doesn't matter which equation you decide to substitute into. So just to show you, I'm going to substitute this one into my second equation instead this time. So let's rewrite. -3 times 0.29 plus 2y equals -8. And when you get these decimals or you're working with fractions, a lot of times you want to make sure you have a calculator just to make sure you're getting the correct answer. So -3 times -0.29 is -0.87 plus 2y equals -8. Again, I'm going to do the chart version since most of you are familiar with that. The -0.87 is going to go to the number side and be positive. 2y comes down, -8 comes down. Add those up. You end up with 2y equals -7.13. I'm going to rewrite that up here so I have more space. And then the last step is going to be to divide by our 2 here, and you get y equals y equals about -3.57 if we round, okay? And that goes back into our ordered pair. And here's our answer, our solution. So these two cross at about 0.29, -3.57. And this is really a better example of why we sometimes have to use algebra to solve this. Oops, can't see it. Because the chances that you would graph these two out and actually come up with, oh, they cross at 0.29, -3.57 are really small. You would have to do an estimate there. So using algebra gives you a more accurate answer, especially when working with fractions and decimals. Okay, so that is my side note here, my notes that I did extra out of the packet for the assignment then for actually yesterday now and today, that would be Tuesday 322 and Wednesday 323 is going to be on the back side, the worksheet Solve Systems by Elimination. So yesterday we started it, and today then we ended up finishing this as our homework. So, and we took out the book work then. Okay, if you have any further questions, please make sure you see me either before school or at lunch, and I will be glad to help you. Homework help Tuesday or Thursday also.